Cross-pollinating ideas is one of my favorite ways to get new perspectives. Now, my background is in interior architecture and design. And then for the past 13 years, I realized I fell more in love with the people than the spaces. And so I've been playing with the idea of the architecture of how we create communities and how we create connection and how we relate to one another, both in the spaces that we exist in, but also within ourselves and in those relationships that matter most. And so, in this series of the architecture of relating, I wanted to bring together my two favorite topics, design and relationships, and see where we might gain some new insights from crisscrossing. So, who I want to bring up today is a guy named Louis Sullivan, who's famous for being the father of skyscrapers in Chicago. But he's known for a very famous quote that is, form follows function, meaning, what if we actually look at the function of a space first and then let the form, the shape of it, be dictated by what the actual need of the space is? Now, when it comes to relating, whether that's in how we relate and build our careers, how we relate to our significant others, our family, our communities, I would say there's a whole lot of ideas of how things should look. This is what your relationship should look like. This is how you should organize your work. And not many people are willing to step back and go, yeah, but what actually works for me? Looking at the function first. A great example of that is I know a beautiful couple that live in New York and they met in their early 60s. And they both had beautiful apartments and they were going to get married, and everybody just thought, ah, yeah, you'll move in together, you'll do that whole thing. And they took a time out and they paused and they said, actually, you know what? I love having my own space. You love having your own space. We'll do slumber parties when we want to. We'll get married, but we keep our own spaces. And they created this life that is very unique to them. And some people don't understand, which is the case sometimes. But for them, it works great because they chose the functionality and holding to their values over going with just the traditional form. So I'm wondering, are there places where you've gone off script in your work or in your relationships? Places that you've chosen function over form, but realized actually that very often when we allow the function to dictate, we come up with some beautiful spaces to exist and relate.